Welcome to the official Blender Noobs, where this noob is learning 3D modeling and using Blender. Truth be known, I do know how to 3D model in my with my buddy Mike. This is a off-the-cuff show. So Mike, why don't you introduce yourself? I think we're on a lag here.
Yeah, well, that's no problem. So my name is Michael Reese. I've been 3D modeling for quite a long time. I am also a Blender noob, but my original software of choice was a 3D Studio Max and V-Ray, and just decided to give Blender a shot. And so far, I've been liking it a lot, and it's been fun learning Blender with my good friend Gabe. At the end of the last session, you gave yourself the homework assignment of building a fire hydrant.
Yep.
Because that's something that you give to your students. You can dump in tons of files, and you can arrange them, you can crop them, and it's like one nice area for reference. This bolt right here has, it's six-sided, but it also has the circle in the middle. So there's a tool that I can show you that kind of I've been using all around. I think one of the things that we can go over today is potentially look at some of these sections, and I can go over like how I built them, and then some tools. So one of the hard ones would be this, the actual body, and you can see right here that I actually have a subdivision modifier. So one of the things that we can go over is maybe some modifiers. So this one is the standard sub D modifier that has to this, and you can see that it's fully integrated. So I definitely used a pretty cool modifier to get this correct. It's called the shrink wrap modifier, and I can kind of show you how I did that. Did a lot of beveling. I used the loop tools to do stuff like this, where you have 5-sided cylinder that I started with, but then I converted it into a circle to get this little bolt situation. Let's see what else I got here. This is just another little inset situation. But yeah, so I've been, and then I actually just finished this morning. This one was also quite difficult. Well, I mean, it was difficult because it has some round stuff within some lower round things. So again, this was like a combination of loop tools as well as mirroring, but it looked pretty clean. And then when we go into the low poly, I can build it a lot more simply, and then just bake on the maps there, bake on the details, I should say.
Very cool. Awesome. Very cool. All right. So let's go over one of the techniques that you use to make this.
Yeah. So I think a difficult thing to do typically, or at least to get right, is doing a cylinder inset within another cylinder. So let's kind of go over how I ended up doing that. So okay, we got our cylinder, a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. Okay, so we have a 32-sided cylinder. What we can do is insert a cylinder into the front here, and then we will then begin to integrate it. So all right, so the first thing what we'll do is we'll go to, so we have a cylinder that's 32 sides, and then we're going to do a circle.
So the cylinder,
Sure.
This is going to be the base for the center of the hydrant, right?
Yeah, this is the body, and then we're going to build the actual big spout, the front cylinder face.
And so this is me just speaking for my comfort zone, but usually in Maya I have like a front and a side plane if I have it, so that I can kind of adjust the object sizes to the image. Are you just eyeballing it right now based off of your reference images?
Yeah, so what I did originally is I built a basic mesh just for sizing, and then I started building, and then I kind of started over again with that as like my blueprint, just to get that going.
So you blocked out the whole thing just in rudimentary shapes.
Yeah, I just blocked it out and made sure that it looked right. So I got the cylinder that's 32, and then we're actually going to do a circle, which is this guy right here. Cool, and we're going to do 24 sides on that. This is, and I know these numbers because I've already did some experimentation with how it's actually going to be fitting in. So if I were to make a 24-sided, I'd probably go with a 12-sided circle. But in any case, one cool thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the side view or the front view, and that's just done by holding Alt and then the middle click. To the front view, we're going to move up this circle, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees so that we can see it. So we're going to do rotate X 90. I'm using the numpad for that. Then we're going to scale it down. I'm going to do Shift Z, which I use all the time. Scale it down. Let's just say that we're good there. And I'm going to move it to the front. Again, I'm using G, and then I'm just choosing my axis and getting that. All right, so we have that circle there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this object, and I'm going to add in some loop cuts that's going to act as the square that this is going to be inset into. So tab gets you into the edit mode. Control R, and then I'm going to left click, and then right click to accept, and then I'm going to do Control B, bevel, and that's going to get me that even span that I'm looking for. And I just need the 2, so I'm going to go segments 2, and we're good. And actually, I could even just move it up by holding G, middle mouse clicking the axis I want, and then just free moving it. Okay, so far, are you with me?
I think so. So you're using the circle as a guide.
Yeah, well, as a guide, and then I'm going to use it to actually do some modeling. So, so far it's a guide, but the circle is now going to become a mesh. So I'm going to hit Tab again to get out of it, go back to the circle, and I'm going to do an inset, or actually an extrude on the circle. So I'm going to hit E, actually Tab, sorry. Tab, I'm going to hit 2 to get to my edges. And I think I can either hit I or do that. I'm going to do E, and you can see I'm doing an extrude. Then I'm going to right click and hit S for scale so that I can get that. Does that make sense, Gabe?
Yep, so you're extruding the circle.
Yep. So now what we need to do is we need to wrap this circle right onto this cylinder so that it wraps perfectly around it. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to use a modifier. The modifiers are found in this the wrench here. And before I do that, I'm actually going to delete all my transforms. I'm going to collapse it so that there's no wonkiness. I'm going to do Control A, and
excuse me,
that you can get through the add-ons. Just within Blender, I'm going to go apply all, but essentially I'm doing a scale and a rotation. Actually, right there's the rotation scale transform, but I'm just going to go to apply all. Now the modifiers, you've not seen this, but the modifiers have 4 categories. One's modify, which just modifies the mesh. Generate is called that because it generates more geometry. And then deform, which deforms the mesh. And then physics like soft bodies and fluids and cloth. So we're actually going to deform, and we're going to do shrink wrap.
All right.
So we are going to shrink wrap on a surface, and the target is going to be that right there. And then it's a little bit wonky, and so we actually need to go to project. So the wrap method is currently nearest surface point. So it's projecting onto the nearest surface point that it can find, but what we really want is to keep the volume. So we're going to go to project, and you can see that it just projects that mesh onto this other mesh. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to apply this modifier. So all you have to do is go to, there's a couple of buttons up here, and what these mean is that how do you want to see the modifier? Do you want to see it when it's during edit mode? So yes. So like if you hit Tab, currently you will still see the modifier. We'll see how it shows what it was before, and then it's showing the end result of the modifier within edit mode. And that's what that button means. So like if you unclick it, then it won't show both. And one is on the cage, and then one is real time. So it's just showing you how that wants to be how you want to see it. But we actually just need to apply it. So we go to this little caret, and we're going to do apply. So now it's on the mesh. So now we're going to go back to the main cylinder, and we're going to go into edit mode, and then we're going to hit 3 for the faces, and we're just going to delete the faces that this is going to use. So a cool thing that I love in Blender actually is going from this face to this face. We're going to hold Control, and it's going to get all of them. And then we're going to delete the faces. The next thing is that we're actually going to need to put another edge loop right here, because we're going to do some filling in. Actually, I think we may need to do 2, but we'll do that now. So that's right in the middle. That's great. And then, actually, I think we may need to do a couple of these. There.
Complete one.
There. All right, let's see where that gets us. Yep, I think. Okay. I think we now have the appropriate amount of edge loops so that we can then just bridge these areas together.
All right, I'm excited.
Cool. So the next thing we need to do is we need to join these 2 objects. So you can do one, shift click the other, and then just do Control J, and that joins them. So now what we can do is go into edit mode, hit 2, do one edge, do the other, and just hit F to fill it, do a bridge.
Okay, so this is like the append to poly tool.
Yeah, so actually
Maya.
what we'll do is we're going to work on this one side right here, and then we'll use a modifier to mirror it over. So that'll be our second modifier of the day.
So it seems like I wonder if the like the title of this episode would be modifiers. Like, is that?
Yeah.
That might be the.
That would be a good one because that's what we're doing a lot of right here.
Introduction to modifiers. This is great. So the projection tool, something that now I'm curious how I would do this similar approach in Maya, because how I would usually do this is actually do something similar, except for I would stick another cylinder in to the main cylinder and maybe use a Boolean to kind of delete the other one and cut that hole, and then I can just extrude the thing straight out.
That can be done. Oops. That can also be done within
Blender.
Yep, that's a second method, and I haven't gotten too deep into the Booleans, but I know that they're really powerful in Blender, and I think one of the things that we could do...
And that, I mean, that's one of the fun things, and one of the things I tell my students all the time is there's no single way to do any of this, and the end results, no matter which, is as long as you're experienced with the software and you know how polygons are going to react, the end results are almost always indistinguishable, but the approach that you used could be so varied and so different.
I think one of the things that I could have done next time, but it's just a demo, is this could have been closer. But you can see how that goes.
But it works.
Okay, so we have half, and what I want to do is there is 2 things. So there's the 3D cursor, and then there's this little dot, and that's the origin. So we are going to mirror across the origin. So I'm going to hit 3 to go into face mode, Shift Z, because when you're in the transparency mode, you'll be able to get things that are behind. Oops. Let's dissolve, delete faces. Okay. And then hit K. K is your knife tool.
Are the caps separate objects?
No. I needed an extra face.
Oh, I see.
Because I wanted to get
You're tying those together.
Yeah. So now what we can do is mirror it across. So again, a modifier. It's generating geometry, and we want to mirror it. And it, like, it already got the right axis. It's merged the verts. And what's really cool actually about Blender 2 is that you can actually mirror across a separate target object, which is something that I've used before. So where if a certain object is already in like the world of origin, and but the object that you currently have has its own origin, you can say to target a different object that then it will mirror across, so you don't have to change the object's origin to the world or to something else, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
All right, so now we have. So what I accidentally did was so if you're not in edit mode, which is what this is, and you hit 1, 2, or 3, it actually will go to the collection. So like this current collection. So one I think is this fire hydrant collection. So now we have cut in a perfect circle right into another cylinder. And what we can do at this point, what I have done is I can spread these around if I want to. Oh, see, it's actually not connected. So let's do this. Let's apply. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just make sure that we have no overlapping, or that everything is okay. Now we're at one object. I'm going to hit 2. We could move this around if we wanted to now, again, to get a a edge loop. It's get the first edge, and then you can alt click, and then I'm gonna hit GG to move across the normals, and you can see that you can move across the normals.
Oh, that's cool. So what? Sorry, what tool is this again?
Oh, okay. So to get the edge loop, it's one edge, and then you alt click the next edge, and that will get the entire loop.
And then how do you keep it on the normals?
Right. So G is move, right? GG, hitting GG twice.
Yeah.
Will move it across the edge.
Oh, that is cool. That is rad. That's really cool.
Yeah. So at this point, what you can do is grab that and hit E and then extrude. And something I haven't shown you yet, are these loop tools up here. Now, to get the loop tools available to you, they are built in to Blender. You just have to go to Preferences, go to Add-ons, type in Loop, and there's a Mesh Loop tools right there. Just make sure it's on. And then now this menu up here, remember that can be gone or turned on or shown or hidden with N. And then if you go to Edit, you'll see the loop tools.
Oh, that's cool.
So in this case, I'm just going to go with flatten,
nice.
And that will flatten that loop right there. And then one thing I really like to do is at this point, you can mess with the transition area. So with these, there's like a weld. So I'll usually do a bevel, maybe add some additional segments.
Fast and easy.
Yeah. Do that. See, this is pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool.
So
kind of inflates it a little bit.
Yeah. So let's just leave it at that. So maybe it's a weird weld.
Yeah.
It actually was a big, like a different kind of weld point. So we have this is completely flattened one way, and then this. You know what? This is actually a much better transition. So let's go with that.
Mike, I've got to hold on just 1 second. I'll be right back.
And for all those still here, what I'm going to do while Gabe is doing that is let's smooth these normals out. So I'm going to go into the non-edit mode, right click, hit shade smooth, and the shading's really jacked up. So you need to go to the object property data, and then just hit auto smooth. And this is 30 degrees. So you hit 45, and that probably won't change, but now it's looking really good. And to get to look at it without the outline, you can just go to this little area here and hit wireframe. Let's try it.
Okay, I'm back. Did you break it while it was gone?
Nope. I think we have just an extra.
So I hate to break it to you, Mike, but you are not a Blender noob, so I don't know if we can do the show anymore.
Oh, no, there's still things. There's still a lot of things that are going on that I don't know. I'm not sure what is happening here. Okay, actually that's good. Actually that's, and then if you go to apply, and then we go to shade smooth. And then, okay, so that actually kind of fixed it right there. Interesting. I'll have to research that on my own. But for now, anyway, so we have a funky looking thing with some normals, but
yeah,
I'll have to look at it but I think it's just the weighting, and then we can just do.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that happens sometimes. And sometimes it's when you end up adding the top or the bottom pieces, they will normalize.
Okay, that's looking a lot better now. So I smoothed up the normals, the auto smooth, and whatever else I did is kind of competing, but it actually looks much better now.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
So that is how I ended up definitely putting in these areas. So we gone over the mirror modifier. One of the cool things that we could do is actually go over the loop tools real quick too.
Yeah.
I think that would be really good.
Yeah, why don't we check out the loop tools, and then maybe we can set some assignments for each other this week that we can.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be cool, even like each week, as we set these little projects for each of us to work with, and then we could each show like a little 15-minute segment of how we did one thing for the audience. I don't know, just spitballing some ideas here.
So I think that's a great idea. Maybe for the next assignment, it's finish off the fire hydrant, and we can talk about that and then move on. So let's add a circular. There are times when, like with certain bolts, like this one right here. It's 5-sided, but here's a 5-sided pentagon with a circular inset, and so we can get that pretty easily with the loop tools. So I go first with the 5 sides, and then I'm going to, because I scaled it, I'm just going to apply all, and then I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm just going to hit 3. I'm going to take off this face. Actually, I'm going to delete this face. I'm actually going to delete this face, and then I'm going to add some more edges for a more circular inset. So let's just quickly add 4 each side. So again, I'm doing Control R. I can do a mouse scroll to get the 4 I want. Left click, right click, because I'm not going to move it at all. So Control R, 1, 2, 3, 4. Left click, right click, Control R, 1, 2, 3, 4. Left click, right click. One more time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the entire edge loop. I'm going to hit E for extrude, right click, and then hit S to scale it. So let's go like that. And then I'm going to hit G. Let's move it up. And then now I'm going to transition into the circle. So I'm going to hit E again, right click, S for scale. But this time I'm going to go into my loop tools. I'm going to go into the circle, and I'm going to hit flatten, and I'm going to hit regular. Yep. So the regular will distribute the vertices. They will be distributed evenly, which is what I want.
That is so cool.
And I do that, and there we go. So now it's a, let's see, 4, 8, 12, so 24, 25, 27, 20.
Wow.
That's
really neat.
30-sided. Yeah. And so now what you can do is start to, do your, so let's just say, I have this. I'm going to hit M is merge. I'm going to go at center. And then let's say that, there's a cool transition here because it's like a welded object. Control B, that's cool. Be a transition here, that's cool. And then you are building this for, for smoothing. You can put in your support edges. When I originally built mine, I actually put my support edges in first, so that when I got to the circle, I didn't have any. You
didn't have to adjust those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering when you were doing it.
Yeah. So, but same principle here. Shade smooth, auto smooth, cool. Turn off the wireframe so we can see it. Yeah. So now we have a 6-sided object bolt that goes into a circular object, which is really cool, and it's super quick and easy. And this wouldn't smooth very well right here. I mean, it's going to be kind of janky, but let's just, to show off one more modifier. There's a shortcut for the subdivision modifiers, but let's do it the slow way first. Modifier, generate subdivision surface, and then levels in the viewport 2, levels at render 2. So this looks nice. I mean, it definitely looks nice, but it's not, it doesn't have crisp edges here, but that's because I didn't add them
right at the beginning.
But a quick way to get this is to, within Blender, it has a built-in subdivision modifier that will, that you can apply within just a second. So that's to get the subdivision modifier through a shortcut. It's either Control 1, which will do one subdivision within the viewport, or Control 2, which gives you 2. And that's one way to quickly apply that subdivision modifier, knowing that you're going to be building it for smooth. And that is how you use those loop tools. And there's tons. There's flatten, loft. I haven't touched all these yet, but definitely using the circle one has been really great.
Yeah, I need to jump into some of those this week as I go through my assignment and check some of those out. Maybe I can learn a trick or two so I can actually show something off next week. And then 3D Mentor is going to come show us as well. He's in the chat. He's telling us learning the nuts and bolts of Blender because he's really good at the dad puns.
That's awesome. So those tools that I showed you are the ones I mainly use to do this entire project.
Oh, that is really cool. So what are our next steps? What are we gonna tackle this week, Mike?
Okay, so you need to tackle getting a fire hydrant.
I need to actually do something, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I need to get off my butt.
That would be good. I think what I'm gonna do is finish the fire hydrant, and then potentially I think next week we can have like a reset. Like we'll both have finished hydrants. There's still some additional tools I want to learn to do some lofted rope-like things. I'm going to do some text. I'm pretty sure Blender has a text tool.
Nice.
So I can use the text along with that shrink wrap.
That's what I was going to say. That projection shrink wrap would work perfectly for that.
So I'm going to do that. I have to inset some additional things here, and then I think at that point what we could do is, if we wanted to continue on the fire hydrants, we could do that, or we can do another modeling project just to get us. Maybe what we can do is build like a little scene with some models, and then we can go into like the low poly. We can go into unwrapping.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and then potentially, if we wanted to make this into a game art type channel with Blender, we can go into Substance Painter. I think you have that available to you if you wanted it from the school, so we can go into that. But I think for now, let's just continue to do some really fun modeling projects.
Sweet, man. I'm on it. So this week, my assignment myself, I need to model a fire hydrant.
Perfect.
And I've modeled a lot of them. so that's why it's a good one for me to choose for Blender, because I already know the nuts and bolts of modeling a fire hydrant in Maya. Let's convert that in. But there's so many new tools you've shown me now that now I need to dive into some of those.
But in any case, it's been a ton of fun. I love learning. I love learning Blender. I'm glad that we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. And I think, we'll have this up on your YouTube channel.
Yep.
To help grow the audience, and if some other professionals want to come out here and give us noobs some tips and tricks, that'd be awesome as well.
Yeah. This is an open call. Any of you watching who is experienced at Blender and wants to show off some of your models, we'd love to have you on the show. The Checkpoint and Mike. We need to come up with a witty code name for you. What's yours? Melting Face?
Oh yeah, so my handle is Melting Face 3D. So come on the channel and melt my face off with some Blender tips and tricks.
That would be fun. The little showcase day, where we So a lot of times you can do that through the chat. Is they'll share links to their Artstation or something else, and then we can take a look at what they have and they can talk about it.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, and if they want to demo something, and then we can just grow the Blender Noob community. Yeah,
we're gonna noob it up. All right, thank you everybody for checking us out. Once again, this is Checkpoint and Melting Face.
Awesome. Thanks everyone.